Okay. We're going to get started. Are we all back?
I didn't know 1 + 1 = 2.
It does. It sure does. Okay. Sam is here. Vivi, Santi. What about Trey? Are you here? May?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. May, Lexi, Jackson. Oh, Vivi. Nice. Cool. Good. Isaiah, Chelsea, Arden. Sarah's here. Good. Lily. Corey. Declan, are you still here? Taylor's here. Good. Kira and Junior. Interesting. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about percentages. Remember, when we are going through a live lesson, we want to keep topic pretty much focused on that lesson just to help us get through it. So yeah, this week you have 3 assignments and 1 target time. I do have to get some of you put into math or iExcel. Declan, you should have a math Excel. You're good to go there. But iExcel, we got to get into. Declan, would you like to meet at all to help get you started in all this stuff? I would love to. You let me know, my friend. So yeah. Okay. Santi, you do have iExcel. Oh boy. Oh, you guys are getting creative on me here. Look at all this. Good stuff. And guys, this is our last week before break. So yay! We will not be back until the 2nd of January. But keep in mind that you are expected to complete work on the 2nd and the 3rd. You won't have a lot to do. But yeah, and also guys, what do you think would be a really good idea to do during break? If you have a really high to-do list, what do you think would be a really smart idea? What would make sense? I know ideally it's break time, so you want to spend every day relaxing and partying. Yeah, but if you have a to-do list that doesn't really allow for that, you're gonna want to use some of break to catch up because it's time where you don't have additional assignments. You could totally get caught up. Totally. And I will be available. Okay, it's limited hours, but if I have someone who is willing to meet with me, I would be happy to help you out. You just let me know, okay? I'm not going to force anybody to do anything, but if you really need some help, you let me know and I will work with you. Okay? Do you guys all hear that? Math teacher is available over break. It's just a little more limited. So let me know. Happy to work. Happy to work. Let's do it. Okay. So here is where we are going to start with the content. Guys, we are going to start talking about percent proportions today, but we need to review how to solve a proportion. What do I do mathematically here, you guys? Yeah, you can kind of reason it out, right? It looks like it is just, you can see these equivalent fractions. I did that again. You can kind of see 2 times 3 gives you 6, so you got to do the same to the top. But if I did cross multiplication, which is our traditional method of solving, so I'm going to go cross multiply. what would I do to cross multiply these? Do you guys remember? What two numbers would I multiply together? Yeah, to cross multiply, I would go 1 times 6. I would multiply diagonally and set it equal to the other side multiplied diagonally. So I'm left with 6 equals 2x. And then what do I do to get rid of multiplying by 2? To get that x by itself, what's the opposite of multiplying by 2? Divide by 2, yeah. So we get x equals 3. Another option, if you don't like showing work like this, is to just multiply the numbers that are diagonal. So 1 and 6 are my numbers. And that gives you 6. And then divide by what's left over. That's all you got to do. Multiply the numbers, divide by what's left over. You guys remember that? If you remember it, say me, me, me. That's not me. Okay, good. Sarah remembers it. Sarah's the only one, except for Vivi. I saw Vivi nodding her head. There we go. Chelsea gave 1 me. Oh man, Sam said ma, ma, ma. You're messing with me. Vivi says ba. There we go, Chelsea. Jackson, that says meme. No. Mimi. Only 2 memes. You guys remember Beaker from the Muppets? Me, me, me. Santi only 1 me. That's okay. I suppose it makes sense to say 2 me's because there's 2 problems. Oh man, Trey's really mommy. Mommy, it's a different way to say it. Look at that. Look at that. Mommy. Mommy. Okay. This, ooh, I like that. Mommy. Okay. Okay, anyway. This is the first method that we are going to write down for solving percentages. And what this means is finding a percent of something. Okay? So this is the formula I want you guys to know and have written down. It's right here. It's called is over of equals percent over 100. This is how we solve percent problems. It's called the percent proportion. Okay, and it's a formula because we're just going to plug stuff into the formula. Okay, it tells us, because whenever you have a percent problem, it's going to say what is 2% of a certain number. So that's what we're going to be looking at and plugging into this formula and then cross multiplying. Okay, this is just kind of a little wordy explanation here. The formula says we can set up the proportion of the part over whole and set it equal to the percent over 100. Okay, so we want to do this example right here. We want to find out 24%. 24 is 75% of what number? Okay, so we're going to tackle this in steps. Step 1 is we're going to draw the proportion out. Okay, that's step 1. Write line equals line. Step 2, you're going to write the 100 on the bottom. And that could actually be a part of step 1. Because that 100 will always be there and will never change. Step 2, we're going to look for the percent. Did they give us a percent in this problem, guys? Did they give us a percent? Do we have that information? Yeah, it's 75. And I know that why. Why do I know that 75 is my percent? Why do I know that it has to be 75? How does it say it in the text?
24% is 75% of what number? So
Yeah,
it's got to equal, like, somewhat.
Yeah, you're totally on there, but what part of the 75 tells you it's a percent? Like, how do you know it is a percent? And Vivi's saying it says it right there, and she's right. It totally does, but why? What part of that number says it's a percent?
With the sign?
The sign, yeah, and it sounds like...
It sounds like it would be really hard to...
I know. Yeah, I'm making it seem probably a little more complicated than need be, and I apologize for that. But no, you're totally right. You're totally right. It's that percent sign is what makes it a percentage. And I say that is because when you read these problems, guys, it is so easy to get confused and put a different number in that percent spot. But if you look for the percent sign, that will always tells you what has to go over 100. So 75 is our percent, so we have to write it in over 100. Now we're going to look for the is and the of. Okay? So the is and the of, if you kind of read the problem, it'll tell you what that means. So 24 is 75% of what number? So what number is my is? What number is my part?
24.
24. Yeah. Not 100. 100 is going to stay the same in the problem because that is what every single percentage is out of. Okay? But you're right. That's my, excuse me, that's the whole. So 24 is my is. And if you look in the problem, it's right next to the word is. So 24 goes on top. And I have 3 numbers there already. So what do you guys think I'm going to put in the bottom under the 24 there, since I already have 3 numbers? What am I going to put there? I already have my value, so now it's time for starts with a V. Rhymes with variable. You're probably figuring out what the number is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm very confident that you're right there. But until we get there, we're going to put a variable in for what we don't know. Okay? So we found 24 as my is. We've identified the percentage. Now look at this part. This says of what number? We don't know what that is, so that's going to turn into your variable. Now we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to multiply the 2 numbers that are across from one another. 100 times 24. What's 100 times 24? 2400. Is that what it is? Right? Beautiful. And then we're going to divide by what's left over. So it's 2,400 divided by 75. Is that 36? Is it? 32. Okay, so you were really close there. 32. Beautiful. So that means 24 is 75% of 32. It's our final number there. Does that make sense? Does it seem like that's accurate? If we think about it, half of 32 would be like what number? Yeah, 16. 16.
It is
So
half of 163.
say it again.
It is half of 163, apparently.
Yeah, that's what that makes sense. 163 is half of 32. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, 16 is half of 32. And then if we think of half of that, half of 16 is 8. So 16 plus 8, what does that give us? Because we want to get to 75%. 16 plus 8. Oh, that's 24. Oh, yeah, so 24, right? Because 24 is our 75%. You can kind of think of this 75%. I always think of it as a circle or even in money.
I was doing it a weird way. I was doing like, what half of 24 is 12. 12 plus 24 is 36.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's not a weird way. That makes sense. It's kind of what we did, except the problem is 24 is your part.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dividing that in half, you're almost treating that like a whole.
I see.
So, good. Okay. So we're going to keep going with this formula. Yay, case swap. Sorry, couldn't help it. Okay. So let's fill it in again. This is our formula. It's always going to be is over of equals percent over 100. Darn it all. There we go. Right over here. So let's do it with this one over here. Yeah, in a second, buddy. So first step is we're going to fill out our proportion. And then we're going to put it over 100. Now we're going to identify our percent, our is, and our of. So look at the first example there. Do I have a percent?
I love the old version of 13%.
Yep. And we knew that because of this percent sign. So 13 is my percent. What about my is? Do I have an is or an of here? I know, I see that, Logan. That's awesome. So 13% of 112 is what number? So what number did they give me? Did they give me an is or an of?
Of, well, 13 is of.
I'm so glad you said that because everybody will do that, right? Because it said 13% of. But that 13, it's already a percent. So that one's gone. We don't even use it anymore. So of 112 is what number? So what's my of going to be?
112.
Yep, that's my whole. And what would I put for is then?
X, wouldn't it?
X, yes it would. Because it says is what number? We don't know what number that is, so we put X. Now we need to cross multiply. We're going to multiply diagonally. We're going to go 112 times 13. Nobody. And then we're going to divide by what's left over. So what's 112 times 13? Is it 1456? Not today, Logan. And then we're going to divide by what's left over. So what number is 13% of that big number? 14.56. Yep, yep.
So sometimes we've done this before, right? I've done it wrong by putting the x on the bottom of the number and then
Yep.
yeah.
And
Is it always going to be a certain way, or is there somehow you can tell?
It will always be following this formula.
Okay.
Always.
Mhm.
You just gotta read real carefully what is the is and the of. And what I would do is I would eliminate your percent right away.
Okay.
So that's a common mistake, you guys, is to put things in the wrong place. That is where a lot of you will go wrong here. But you gotta look real carefully for the is and the of. Cool. Okay, let's do the next one. What percent of 9 is 3? So we'll draw in our proportion here. Do I have a percentage in this problem?
Would the percentage be the variable?
Yes. How do you know the percentage is the variable?
Because there was no written number.
There's no number, no percent sign. Cool. And it also tells us what percent. So they're asking what percent. So that's going to be our variable. Of 9 is 3. So what would my is over my of be? Of 9 is 3.
9 is the denominator. Well, that's just how I see it. But
Yep. So Vivi thinks 9 is the denominator. What do you guys think? Remember, it's always is over of. Do you guys agree with Vivi? Is 9 the denominator? Are you on the other one? Let's see. Oh, I don't know. That could be the number. But we want to know which number is my denominator. What percent of 9 is 3? What number goes in the denominator?
it's I'm pretty sure it's 3 nines.
3 nines. Yeah, Isaiah, you're right. And Isaiah is reducing it. And you can do that, but you don't have to. You're totally right, Isaiah. So 9 is your denominator because it's of 9. Is your numerator. 3. And then Isaiah reduced it, and you totally can do that. But yeah, so if we multiply diagonally, we get 100 times 3. And then divide by what's left over. Okay, 33.3. Okay, yeah. So we would actually just divide, and you would say 33.3%. So, any questions on that?
Nope. Not from me at least.
It's okay. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. What about the rest of you guys? Any questions? There's more than just Isaiah, Vivi, and Kira in here, guys. What about the rest of you?
Are there any signs of life?
Any signs of life out there? I know I'm getting pretty tired myself. Oof. Okay, Sarah, do you have a question? I love your honesty. And we're also going to go through another method of solving stuff like these. Okay, no problem. No problem. I tell you what, when we get to the next way, we'll do it both ways, just so you can see it. And that's true. That is total truth. You are not wrong there, my friend. Okay. So just a quick little review here. How do I solve for x? You guys remember? I'm drinking lemonade. It's so good. What do you guys think?
I want to say dividing, but
So Vivi thinks we would divide. What would we divide?
I thought if it's multiplication, don't you do it the other way around?
Yes, you do. You got to do the opposite, okay? So we have an equation here, and we want to get x by itself to figure out what it is. So we're going to do the opposite of what's around that x. What's the opposite of multiplying the x by 6? I should send you guys lemonade. What's the opposite of multiplying by 6? Divide. Yeah, divide by what number? By 6. Yep. So we're going to divide by 6. So we get x is equal to 9. Good.
So you just divide the other number by 6. You just don't look at the variable until you find the other.
Right. Yeah.
I know it would kind of be confusing because it kind of looks like you're multiplying the variable. So then you're like, okay, now I got to divide it by 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just you're going to look at whatever operation is going on between x and your numbers around there. And if you had like x plus something, you would take care of the plus something first. But in this case, it was attached to the x. And whenever it's attached, it means you're multiplying. So, yeah. Oh, I can feel my child's lack of sleep last night. Wake it up. Okay. Now let's talk about the percent equation. I'm going to grab my minty candy really quickly, but I want you guys to write this down. The percent equation is the percent times the whole equals the part. Okay? Percent times the whole equals the part. And if you like the percent proportion, remember that's just this one. Okay, so take a minute, write that down. I'll be right back. Oh, goodness gracious me. What are you doing? Oh, nowhere. Oh, trying to wake myself up. I'm a little tired. Mom, oh my God. I don't have my napkins. It's so boring. I want to go outside. Oh, I understand. Hold on, okay. My son growls at me when he's mad. It's kind of funny. He sounds like a little kitty. He's like, "Rrr." Okay, do you guys have this written down? The percent equation and the percent proportion. We'll kind of solve it both ways. Honestly, you pick what works best for you, okay? If you like the proportion better, do that. If you like the equation better, do it. It's all good. One thing we got to remember is when we use the percent equation, we turn our percent into a decimal. Okay? The equation says we take the percent in decimal form and multiply it by the whole to get the part. That's what we do. We remember and we think that the word of tells us to multiply. Okay? So 13 is what percent of 104? What is my is in this problem? Can someone circle my is? What's my is in the problem? 13, yeah, that's my is. What about my of? Can someone underline my of? No problem, Isaiah. Yep. And we don't know what my variable or what my percentage is, so that's going to turn into my variable. So now let's put it in the equation, okay? The equation tells us to take the percent, we don't know what the percent is, multiply it by the whole or the of, so the of is 104, so I'm going to put 104 in front of my x there. I love that show tray, I love that. And then 13 is my part, or my is. Now what would I do to get that x by itself, guys? Yep, we're going to divide. Very good. Divide both sides by that number that's in front of x, which is 104. And what do we get when we do that? You can give me 3 decimal places. 13 divided by 104. What is that? It's going to be like point something. 0.124. Okay. And now, see how it says what percent? I have a decimal. What do I need to do to get that decimal to turn into a percent? You guys remember? I can either multiply it by something or move the decimal. What do you guys think? What percent would that be? We divided it and we got 0.124. So what would that be as a percentage? Yeah, I'm going to move the decimal place 2 times to the right. So 12.4%. Another way is just to multiply by 100. Okay, let's try the proportion. Okay, I don't have a percent, but I have an is and I have an of. So now I'm going to multiply the 2 numbers and then divide by what's left over. Oh, 2, Isaiah, good question. 2 is because decimals are all out of 100. And when you move 2 places, that is the 100th place in decimals. You get the same result from multiplying by 100. Good question. Any questions on this one? Okay.
Can you go over one more problem?
Oh, yeah, I have more examples. Yep. Oh, yeah, we're not done yet. All right. Ignore this because I don't know what this is part of. Okay, so we've got percent equation and percent proportion. Remember, the equation is percent times the of equals the is. And percent proportion is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, so 5 is 17% of what number? So what about my percent? Do I have a percent in this problem?
%.
17, very good. 17 has a percent sign, so that's my percent. What about my is? What's my is?
5 is.
5 is. And what about the of? Yep. Yep. I see someone put a variable in. That's very good. Good. Okay, so first thing we got to do, since we have a decimal, is we got to convert it, or a percent, we have to convert it to a decimal. To do that, you can either divide by 100 or move the decimal place 2 spaces to the left. So what would this be as a decimal? %17% is what decimal? Very good. Okay, so that's my first part. Now I'm going to follow the equation. I take the percent as a decimal, and I multiply by the of, and I don't know what the of is. That's x, and my is 5. Now I need to cancel out multiplying by 7.17. What do I do to get rid of multiplying by 0.17? What's the opposite of that? Yep. So 5 divided by 0.17 is my answer. What would that be? And remember, you will get a bigger number here. Long number. Yeah, you can just round it to maybe like 1 place after the decimal. Did you guys all get 29.4? What do you think? Yeah, right, Vivi? Hello, I'm falling asleep here. I'm so tired. Hello. Isaiah, Glexi, are you guys alive?
They all went out to a field trip.
Ooh, that sounds good. I figured that one, Sarah. Hello, Sam. Rest of you guys, hello. Oh, me too. I'm so tired. I wish I could turn the rest of our session into math or nap time. I'd be out. Okay, so 5 divided by 0.17. I'm gonna go. Yeah, and I agree. It makes sense, especially, and it's a lot more interesting when other people are responding. So please, let's amp that up. So this is definitely 29.4. Good job, Vivi. Okay. Now let's put it in the percent proportion. So I would go is my 5 of, I don't know, percentage over 100. And then I would multiply straight across.
And this is just another way to do it?
Yeah, another way to do the same problem. Yep.
I find this way a little bit easier.
The equation?
Yeah, this one.
Me too. And it's probably more what you would use like if you're out shopping and
the
you
other one is
find the
many
percent.
confusing.
Yeah. So I hear that. Oh boy. All right, let's do the next one. Next one tells me we're going to use this method, percent times the whole equals the part, or percent times the of equals the is. So 98% of 50 is what number? What number is my, do I have a percent here?
Yes.
Yes, what is my percentage?
98.
98. So what am I going to turn that 98 into before I can use it in my problem?
0.98.
0.98. We divide by 100 or move the decimal place 2 spaces to the left. Good. Now we need an is. 98% of 50 is what number?
Variable.
Variable. Yeah. We don't know what the number is. Is what number? Okay. So I have my percentage. I have my variable. What about the 50? What would I call the 50?
Of.
50 is your of. Now we're going to put it into the equation. 98% of 50 is what number? So all I'm going to do is go 0.98 times 50. 49? Do you guys agree? Oh, yes. 49 it is. Yay! Questions?
I don't have any questions. I just prefer the other way to do it.
Okay. This way, the equations?
I like the one where you have to cross multiply.
Oh, the is over the of. Yeah. And if I did that way, it's the same information. So it's is over of equals percent over 100. You just fill it in. Is what number is x of 50? 98% times 100. And then I would cross multiply what's across from each other and divide by what's left over.
Yeah, it's quicker, isn't it?
Much quicker.
And you don't have to get the decimal point.
Yeah, the decimal part is kind of clunky. The decimal part can screw some people up. It definitely has. So cool. All right, we got to talk about a word problem real quick because we love word problems. Okay. So we're going to talk about Frank. Frank has been traveling a lot lately as part of his job. During the past 30 days, he has been out of town 18 days. What percentage of the last 30 days has Frank been out of town? I almost said has been Franklin. Wow. Okay. So let's put our formula up there. Do you guys like is over of better or the equation one better?
I like is over of, but
Okay, Vivi votes for is over of. What about the rest of you guys? Is over of. Yep. Okay, it could be 56. I'm not sure. Let's check it out. You're probably reasoning because 18 is just a little bit over half. Let's check. Okay. So our proportion is over of equals percent over 100. We definitely have our is and our of. What's the is? What's the part? The part of time that he's been out of town. 18. What's the of? The total days. Yep. And now all I have to do is I'm going to multiply the numbers that are across from each other and divide by what's left over. So 18 times 100 is 1800 divided by 30. What would that be?
60.
60, you guys agree? I agree.
Because 6 times 3 is 18. And it's 30.
Very good. Very good. So he's been out of town. Let's check. Wait. Telefono. Where'd you go?
I mean, I was just using a calculator, so.
Oh, that's percentage. That's why I got confused. That's percentage. So remember, guys, if you're like me and you look at it and you're like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. Go back to the problem because this is a percentage.
What?
So we really should put percents in there.
What? Wait a second, I'll make it in a minute.
I'm with you, my friend. Okay. One more. Okay. So 4,328 people voted in a citywide election. 53% of the voters voted for Tucker. How many people voted for Tucker? So let's write our is over our of. Do I have a percentage here, guys? What do you guys think? Did they tell me a percentage? Yep, it's 53. Oh, you wrote it. Very good. So that's 53 over 100. What about my is? My part. Do I know my part? Yeah, Isaiah, that's probably what we're going to end up doing. Right now we're setting it up though. What's my part? If 4,328 people voted in a citywide election, that wouldn't be my part. That would be the total number of people who voted in a citywide election. Yeah, we could put O or X or whatever, and we're going to now cross multiply. We multiply what's across from each other and divide by what's left over. Yeah, and the part is the answer. Yep, we're solving for the part. So now we're going to multiply the total, the whole, and then divide by 100. And you guys got it. Very good. 2294. Very good. Any questions on that? Yep, you are free. Sorry, guys. You're free to go. You're free. You're free. Have a great day. You're free. You're free.
Woohoo!